What's going on? Welcome to another live edition of Real Fans, Real Talk. I'm happy today. I'm in a good mood today. Sometimes I just come in and we doing the show and I just be in such a great mood. And today is one of those days. Um, I was telling Eric earlier, it's a difference when you win money on FanDuel and when you just rip it from the pockets of the opposition. And so I'm in one of those moods today. But before we get into all of that, and we, I'll let y'all know who got shut down today. Let me introduce my co-host, my brother Eric Sanchez, aka Legend in Two Games. What's going on?
Was really good, bro. You already know it's nothing like other people's money. When you win a bet and it's like FanDuel is cool, but it's nothing like when you gotta make that call to the person like send my money over. You know the Cash App, you know the Zelle, send that money over. But yeah, man, it's been another great sports week. Week 13 of the NFL NBA season is starting to heat up a little bit as now we get to the in-season tournament elimination round. We had some good boxing. We got some great boxing coming up next week. So it's a great time to talk sports.
Yep. I think actually, Eric, the best feeling is the first call when they don't answer the phone. That's the
Oh, when
feeling.
it, yeah, it's kind of like they're avoiding you a little bit.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
they got to answer the phone. Eventually they gonna go too long without answering the phone. But that first call when they don't answer and you just get to just breathe it all in and just you get that feeling, man. So I love that. Obviously I'm talking about the 49ers and the Philadelphia Eagles. Hopefully Jalen Hurts comes back. I know he did go to the locker room. That's above it all, that's still an Alabama guy. So I still want Jalen Hurts to be healthy and to be able to be on the field and play. But 49ers defense had been shutting him down long before he stepped off the field, went to the blue tent, and then ultimately went to the locker room. Eric, I mean, I know you picked this game to kind of go this way, but I want you to actually take us back to the the NFC Championship game when Brock Purdy went out, and just talk about the difference when there's a quarterback on the field and when there is not a quarterback on the field.
well, absolutely. Going back to last year's NFC Championship game, you and I both had the 49ers beating the Eagles. Brock Purdy goes out of that game in the first drive. The 49er defense played really well. If you go back and you look at the score, they were down six, and then Josh Johnson has a bad fumble. The Eagles score, and then it becomes a two-possession game. And at that point, it snowballs and gets out of hand. But one of the things we kept trying to tell Philly fans were the Niners were pretty close and pretty even with Philly last year. The only difference was that obviously Niners didn't have a quarterback. That was the only thing. So now that they have their quarterback, we see what the 49ers can be. And when they're healthy, they're super tough to stop. I can't remember who it was that asked on Friday Nights Live about what does Brock Purdy have to do, or what do we need to see from Brock Purdy? And I said, just don't turn the ball over. Because when they're healthy, I don't see a defense that can really match up with the 49ers. I'm not saying stop them, but just match up because you can't double any of their receivers. Brandon Ayuk, Debo, you can't double those guys because Kittle's too good as a tight end and because McCaffrey might be the best running back in all of football. So, and then with that old line, it's like you got to pick your poison. And the Eagles learned that the hard way today. The 49ers had a really bad first quarter, and the 49ers are still sitting on 35 points right now. You know what I'm saying? So this is how good this 49er team is, that you can slow them down for a quarter and they can still put 30, possibly 40 points on you. Philly is learning what a lot of other teams have already learned. The 49ers are physical. They're tough to beat. And I think this now legitimizes them as the best team in football with this type of victory going into Philly.
Yeah. I mean, what else can you say? What I'm saying, they dominated this game pretty much from the second quarter on. And even in the first quarter, I mean, they gave up the two field goals, but that was after two long Philadelphia drives, and they could not get into the end zone. And I think the streak was like 12 straight red zone drives with the touchdown scored. So that streak was stopped today. And then, like I said, they come right back down the field again, and you're like, all right, whatever. We get past that first drive, get the momentum back. They get held to a field goal again, and then you go into the second quarter, and the light switch has been flipped, and San Francisco's offense starts taking over this game. You talking about turnovers, Eric. Brock Purdy does not turn over the football much when the team is healthy. When the team is healthy, if you look up his touchdown to interception uh rate, you know what I'm saying, there's a pretty huge gap uh in those numbers. So he doesn't turn the ball over much. You know, when we did see him turning over the football, he was without arguably the best left tackle in football, and Trent Williams. So you got to give these guys all the credit in the world, that defense, and to have added Chase Young to the 49ers defense, what that does, oh my goodness, you really gotta you really gotta watch out for this defense. I have the 49ers as the favorite now moving forward to come out of the NFC. One last question to you, Eric, in regards to this game. If Jalen Hurts has to miss time, how do the Eagles finish this season off? Hopefully, it's not something that keeps them out throughout the playoffs. But if they do the Eagles hold on to first place?
No, they won't. He's back in the game right now. I'm sure we'll learn more about it because he took a couple big hits on a previous drive. But if Jalen Hurts is hurt or were to miss some time like he did last year, I think they would fall off the table because this isn't a situation where you have a true backup, serviceable quarterback like Gardner Minshew, who they had last year. Marcus Mariota has been over the hill for a few seasons now. Marcus Mariota is not a guy that you can rely on to win games. He lost his job last year in Atlanta to Desmond Ritter. So the Eagles, the loss today is big on a number of levels. One, because now the 49ers now kind of have that stranglehold on we're the best team in the NFC and we went into your house to beat you. So no matter where we play, we're going to have that confidence that we could do it again. The second part of this is with Dallas being as hot as they've been recently, now next week is for first place in the NFC East. Dallas is only one game back of Philly. So that game now has added significance next week for Philly because if you want to be the number one overall seed, if you want an opportunity to have everyone come through Philly like they did last year, you've got to find a way to win next week. And if Jalen Hurts is hurt or limited in any capacity, it's going to be a struggle for the Eagles, man. They're not running the ball as good as they did last year. They don't hit the big explosive plays the way they did last year. You see them grinding it out. As you mentioned, they had long drives that they could not complete. Those were things that last year Philly was able to do. This year they cannot do it. And without Jalen Hurts, I don't see them being able to sustain any winning.
Yeah, I agree because there's a gap in the starting quarterback for the second string. So
Right.
you hope he's healthy. And from what I've been reading, he's pretty much been playing hurt this entire season. But you don't want it to get to a point where he has to miss time because I mean, for the 49ers, it doesn't matter, but you definitely want to have home field, for everybody else in the playoffs. So they're going to have to try to keep Jalen Hurts healthy. Let me just shout out a couple of y'all in the comments. Appreciate y'all. Kyrie, I see you first up early as usual, 627. Derek Thompson, early as usual. We're gonna get to some of these comments in just a second. Matter of fact, we might as well get to Derek Thompson because he got an NFL question. Kyrie, we're gonna get back to yours later because the tide was rolling this weekend. So we definitely gonna get to your comment later. Shout out to Imani. I see you as well in the comments. Uh Derek says, Sanchez, how did your NFL picks pan out?
Bro, amazing. Let's go down a rundown. Now I'm waiting for the 4 o'clock games to finish. So that way I can have the official tally. But we had the Colts. We had them covering. They were -1. They won by 3. We had the Chargers -5.5. They won by 6. Disgusting by the Patriots. The Patriots continue to set history because I don't know if everybody's aware of this. After last week's loss, they were the first team in NFL history to give up 10 points or fewer in back-to-back games and still lose both those games. This week they got even better defensively because they only gave up 6 points and still lost the game. But the Chargers covered. I had Detroit -4.5. They covered. I had Atlanta -2 against the Jets. They covered. I had Arizona +6.5 against Pittsburgh. I obviously wasn't expecting Kenny Pickett to get knocked out of that game, but Arizona won outright and they covered. And then I had Miami -9.5. They won big. The only loss in the early slate that I had was I thought Denver would cover the 3 points against the Texans. It was a competitive game, but they did not cover the 3 points. That was the only loss. So I went 6-1 in the 1 o'clock slate, and in the afternoon slate, I'm gonna lose this one because I thought Philly would keep it within 3. I had Niners winning outright, but Philly to cover. I had the Bucks -5. They're covering right now, and I had the Rams -4. Last time I checked, the Rams were tied with the Browns. So that one's still in play. But it's opportunity for a great day. And I know we're going to get into the Sunday and Monday, so I'll save my picks there. But 6-1 through the 1 o'clock slate. I think I'm doing pretty good, Trip.
Not bad at all. And I'm winning. I'm just winning, winning
You
today.
you you got the biggest bet of the day. You won that one right there.
Exactly. Because with that also comes the pride, the bragging rights. You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of thing that gets me up in the morning. Those kind of victories. That's the ones that I really like. Shout out to Kevon. Shout out to Hoop Baller Scoop. We see y'all fellas out there. We gonna talk a little bit of Josh Giddey later on in the program. Dion Hoops page. See you. Yes, we're gonna talk Kevin Durant later as well. We gotta first of all, shout out to the wide receivers from this morning to this afternoon, even on Thursday as well. The wide receivers have been putting up some big games, but Nico Collins and CJ Stroud, the connection that they have, 191 yards today. What are we doing here, man? That young man is playing football right now. That connection CJ Stroud has with his receivers is special. I know they did lose Dell for the season at the
Yeah.
rookie, which is it sucks, but they still have Nico Collins and Noah Brown should be back to full strength very soon. So they still got some weapons out there. But yeah, man, that offense is looking good. They got some pieces.
CJ Stroud continues to amaze. Man, I don't know what to say about this guy because they out there with some young receivers and he is making it work. And more importantly, he's not turning the ball over, which is something that you don't normally see from rookie quarterbacks.
Yeah. So what are you gonna do? A couple of other injuries. Kenny Pickett, Steelers quarterback, he went out today. Derek Carr went out today as well. And question for you, Eric. I know Will's not in the building right now, but I need to know because I feel like we're gonna have to start having this conversation soon. Is Justin Herbert overrated?
Absolutely. And I think we found this out earlier this season. I've highlighted it several times. We talked a little bit about it on Friday, comparing if he was better than Sam Howell. He is better than Sam Howell of DC. But in terms of overrated, absolutely. He gets so many passes in terms of, well, it's all right. His defense is this. It's all right. The receivers are injured. It's all right. They've had multiple opportunities this year where they had the ball late in games to get the game winning or game tying drive. He has not come through. Too often, people blame Brandon Staley for the shortcomings of this team. But at some point, you got to look at the quarterback. This is the guy you're paying to be the franchise quarterback. This is the guy who still has not proven anything. He does not have any playoff victories. He's only been to the playoffs one time as a starting quarterback. And at some point, we got to call it what it is. They played a really bad Patriots team today. They kicked 2 field goals. That's all they got. And they weren't short on talent because Mike Williams been out all year. They had Keenan Allen, they had Austin Eckler, they had Gerald Everett, they had all their guys. You got to be better. Point blank, period. He continues to struggle. What's going to happen is they're going to fire Brandon Staley, and then I think everyone's going to come full circle and be like, all right, now the pressure's on Justin Herbert. And if he continues to struggle, then everyone's going to call him a bust. But just let it be known, we're calling him a bust first.
So it's because prior to this season, it's been the coaching.
Yep.
How much of it is the coaching, and how much of it is Justin Herbert just not being able to get the job done? Because if you're talking about his peers and the guys that are around him, he's probably the only one left that doesn't have a playoff winner. As far as the guys that we kind of said were upper echelon.
I think it's 60-40. The blame is on Justin Herbert. Brandon Staley is not a good coach. Don't get me wrong. He is not a good coach. He has some terrible decision making, especially in close games. But they went out and got a new offensive coordinator for Justin Herbert who was supposed to open this offense up and make him look better. He's had moments this year, but he's also been very inconsistent. And as you mentioned, when you look at some of the other quarterbacks, some of these guys do more with less talent. I mean, we saw a couple years ago, Joe Burrow got sacked almost 80 times and still won 10 games and made the AFC Championship game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Last time I checked, CJ Stroud don't have a Keenan Allen on Austin Eckler on his team.
No.
He's 7
guys look like they are.
right. He's 7-5 as a rookie starting quarterback. Last time I checked, Gardner Minshew don't have a Keenan Allen or Austin Eckler. Gardner Minshew just threw for over 300 yards today and 2 touchdowns on the road. Like, at some point, your quarterback just got to be your quarterback and like, all right, I'll make the plays. It ain't always going to be perfect. I just got to make the plays. And Justin Herbert just never seems to make the plays. So for me, that's why I call him overrated. And that's why I put more of the blame on him than the coaching. Because if I draw up this great game plan and you can't execute it, what does it matter? I could be the greatest coach in the world if you can't execute it. And right now, he's not executing.
Yeah, I agree, man. I'm leaning towards that, man. I'm gonna give you to the end of this season, but I think it's overrated, man, because you got to show and prove. And he hasn't done that, and guys are coming into this league and they're surpassing him. Trevor Lawrence got you know what I'm saying, got a playoff win already. Look what CJ Stroud is doing, this season. He's after you, but he's out here looking better than you. He's got wide receivers that if you looked at this team at the beginning of the season and you said his wide receivers with Noah Brown, Nico Collins, and I believe he was an undrafted rookie too. Was
Tank Dell, yeah.
and Tank Dell, you would not be telling me that this kid would be having this kind of a season. So, when you got Keenan Allen out there, I know Mike Williams, has been getting injured, but he's still been a top wide receiver in the past couple of years. And then you got Eckler. You have got to do better on offense. Shout out to Ron. I see you in the comments. We're going to talk about the Lakers later on in the program as well. But yeah, Justin Herbert, I'm leaning towards the overrated side, man. We got to get it together.
I mean, we just saw Josh Dobbs a couple weeks ago get traded to a team, barely know the guys he was throwing to, and in back-to-back weeks made critical plays down the stretch to win games. And yet we still do not have a defining moment from Justin Herbert where we could be like, that's the moment that he elevated his teammates. It always looks great in the first couple quarters, and in the fourth quarter, for some reason, it fades. That's why they lost the playoff game last year to Jacksonville. It looks great for about 2.5 quarters, and those last 20 minutes, he fades away.
Exactly. Let me ask you this one more football question before we switch over to the NBA. Cooper Kupp, last couple of games, I believe I want to say the last 6 games, less than 50 yards. 4 out of the last 5, less than 30 yards. What's up? What's going on with Cooper Kupp, man?
The league found out a way to defend him. I think that's really what it's come down to. Granted, Kevin O'Connell, who was the offensive coordinator over there, who went to Minnesota, and we saw the way he's opened up things for Justin Jefferson, is no longer there. So there's that part of it. Puka has become more of a focal point of that offense as well. So, and him and Kenyon Williams, so that's part of it as well. But I think in the NFL, no disrespect to Cooper Kupp because he is a very good player, but only the great players have this longevity. A lot of guys, once the league catches up to you, you start to see the numbers dwindle a little bit. And I think Cooper Kupp has come back to the pack for that reason.
Drunk is in the building. Drunk, we see you out there. What's going on, man? Chargers being coached by Sesame Street. Justin Herbert is that guy. Wait till Staley get fired.
I don't believe it.
Yeah, he gonna have to show and prove at this point because you have the weapons. Could you imagine if Patrick Mahomes had Keenan Allen? Could you imagine what he would be doing right now if he had Austin Eckler? Even though Pacheco is good, but he ain't Austin Eckler, who can catch out of the backfield and run for 1,000 yards in a season. Like, come on, man. Like, stop.
Like I said, I think we're blaming Brandon Staley for everything. Brandon Staley doesn't draw up the offensive game plan. He's a defensive-minded coach.
Yeah.
Right? That's why they went and got an offensive coordinator. I just think at some point Justin Herbert got to show and prove. A lot of other quarterbacks show and prove, no matter who's out of the lineup, no matter who's in the lineup. Justin Herbert, to me, we keep making excuses. Oh, he didn't have this guy. He didn't have that guy. He's had the guys this year. They've been fairly healthy. Keenan Allen's been fairly healthy all year. Eckler's been fairly healthy all year.
Drunk down here. Drunk, you in here early today. Come on, man. The weapons, Eckler, fantasy hype beast, Keenan, old. Have you seen what Keenan Allen has been doing this season? Somebody he's old, Keenan. Come on, man. No, we're not even gonna do that. Keenan Allen has been beasting this season. He's getting damn near 100+ receiving yards every week and a touchdown. Like, come on, man.
Drunk, you could say he said he got the same stats as Hurts. He could have the same stats all he want. What those fourth quarter numbers look like? What those meaningful drive numbers look like? Because I can point out 3 games specifically where Justin Herbert and them, like I said, had the ball late and he couldn't even get a first down when they needed the drive to win the game or tie the game. As I mentioned, he looks great for 2.5 quarters. Most of his numbers look great through 3 quarters, and in the fourth quarter he fades. That's what he's done for the past couple of years. I think he's got tremendous talent, but I mean, at some point, when are we not just hyping up the talent? When is he going to prove it on the field?
Yeah. Again, 42-19 right now.
I told you.
It's
And
ugly
mind you,
outside.
and mind you, the Niners. Remember, the Niners ain't even start scoring. I think until like the last 2 minutes of the first quarter.
Yo, Trunk is
He said he mad. We appreciate your honesty.
Oh man. Oh, you know what, guys? Listen, before we switch over and start talking this NBA talk, because I see the comments is coming in right now. We told you guys last week we had a special guest that's gonna be coming on to the show. I'm gonna let y'all know now. We can let the cat out of the bag right now. We will be having Super Bowl champion Raheem Brock joining us at the TV station next week. It's gonna be an in-studio interview, but we are still gonna go live because again, we always want you guys to be included on what we're doing. So if you guys do have questions that y'all want to ask Raheem Brock, hit us up. Just you can DM us or hit us on Facebook, send us a message with the questions. Just because when we're in the TV studio, we may be able to get to you guys' questions, but we may not be able to get to the questions. So if y'all send them to us beforehand, we will definitely get to y'all questions. Not like the regular show, because sometimes y'all be having like 100 questions. We can't do all that, but send us, if y'all want, send us some questions, and we'll try to get to as many of the questions as we can. Again, we will go live when we're in the TV studio with Raheem Brock, but you know what I'm saying, we definitely want to let you guys know so you guys have the chance to send in your questions, because it's going to be a little different when we in studio. It's a little more difficult because we're not actually running the boards. We got our whole crew is running everything. All Eric and myself do is basically sit and, as Fab said, all we do is sit and talk ish like Skip Bayless. All right, so make sure that's gonna be December 12th. We'll probably be live around 5 o'clock ish. So make sure y'all keep Tuesday, and I'm gonna set up the time just so the alert is up when we get off the air today, just so that you guys know December 12th we're gonna be rocking out with Super Bowl champion Raheem Brock. He was on the other side of the line with Dwight Freeney the year that Peyton and them won the Super Bowl. Big shout out to Raheem Brock. He's actually got a whole second career right now that we're going to talk a lot about when we get to the TV station as well. But keep on, y'all keep the alerts up for that. And again, if y'all do have questions, hit us up on the Twitter at Real Fan Talk, or hit us on Facebook. You can either go on the group page or on the fan page and just type your questions in, and we will get to as many as possible, because we got to keep the family included on what we do.
That's a fact. I'm super excited because I got so many questions to ask him about those Colts teams, and that time specifically while he was there.
Yes, sir. Hype baller scoop hoops, what's going on? We see you out there. We're gonna start getting to these NBA comments now. Let me see where we at with it. Okay, let me start with this one. Did y'all see LeBron James and Udoka's heated exchange last night? Anyone know what he said? Shout out to Kevon. I told you I typed in the group chat. The audio is actually out now. He was telling LeBron to stop bitching, and you know how LeBron feels about that. The last times, somebody used the B word in reference to LeBron in any shape or form, they came back from down 3-1 in the NBA Finals. So LeBron is not tolerating that. And you guys saw what happened. Ultimately, Udoka got ejected from the game.
Yeah, I saw that exchange. The audio's out. Shout out to Hoop Baller Scoop. He tagged us on a page that put the audio out on that as well.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, I mean, competitive exchange. That's all it was.
Yeah, no big deal. I mean, they wasn't gonna throw Braun out for that. You know what I'm
I
saying?
really don't think they should have threw a Udoka out for it.
Yeah, I wouldn't have either, but sometimes ref do them what they do.
Yeah, refs a little extra.
Exactly. All right, let me go to this one so we can run through this one real quick, because again, there's still more evidence that needs to be released. Trip and Eric, y'all gotta dive into the Josh Giddey ish and its updates of it. I'm sure Malika Andrews is happy. I saw her old clip talking, bringing up Adrian Payne's sexual assault years ago, and it's like, itch, the man has got killed, and you talking about that. Yeah, Des Bryant got at her, even though he kind of erased his tweets. But yeah, I mean, Malika does get at the brothers. Crazy because we were just talking about one of the brothers that she was just getting at most recently, and Udoku. Um, so but again, I, in this situation, I'm still gonna say, people do want to kind of wait until a little bit more evidence is out. But yeah, but Malik Andrews, she do be, when it's the brothers, she do be on it early, trying to, push the news cycle out there. So,
Yeah, I'm not. I was a fan of Malika. I'm no longer a fan of hers for that reason because I feel like it always starts off. Her segments start off with a negative aspect to them. But in this case, what we've heard so far is that the investigation has hit a snag. We don't really know what that means because does that mean that they have no longer found any evidence, or does that mean that they're no longer pursuing it? Which sounds a little crazy again because there's been limited details that have leaked out. We don't know if those tweets were even real or not. We talked about that last week because nobody's confirmed that those tweets were really real. If that was the girl in the picture, no one's confirmed. Josh Giddey hasn't talked about it. We don't know where this relationship even stemmed from. Did he know the girl was underage? Did he find out later on? Was it somebody he had been dealing with? Who knows? So there's still a lot of ifs and maybes about it. So I think that's why some cycles, including us, haven't really spoken about it because there's only been a slight trickle down of information that hasn't been enough to really develop a strong opinion one way or the other.
yeah, pretty much. But again, when more information is out, trust we will definitely go in. We just want to wait for the info to be released to us.
Right.
Um, let me see. Let me go to Imani's question real quick. I know it's on Angel Reese, but shout out to Imani Williams. What up? You all have a great weekend. See, Angel Reese has returned to the team. That's good news and had a big game. Hopefully, she just focused on basketball. That's all we want, man. And yes, I definitely had a great weekend. If you guys, watch from the top of the program, I got the money and the bragging rights. The Eagles are pretty much done at this point. But I mean, I don't even think it mattered. You could come back from 42-19 with 2:07 left in the game playing on rookie. So
Nah, they not come back.
had a great game. But yeah, shout out to Angel Reese. Listen, man, we love Angel Reese. We want to see her, I'm saying, go all the way again and go to the highest of heights that she can go to in her career. So I'm glad she's back on the court. And yeah, like you said, focus on basketball.
Yeah, I'm happy she's back. I'm happy that a lot of that is behind her right now and she's focused. And we've talked about this trip. That's what she needs. She got to get back to just getting on the court, handling her business, and eliminate some of them distractions. She's gonna be just fine, man. It's just a lot was coming at her at one time, I think.
We just throw Drunk's comment up here because it's about Josh Giddey.
Hmm.
They said it hit a snag because the girl family is not cooperating. You see, that's this, and then this is why you got to just wait it out before you start going in depth on things. You got to just wait and just see what's gonna, what happens.
Yeah, and that could mean a number of things. Because on one hand, I know people gonna say, well, maybe they paying off the family, and it's possible. Maybe there was that communication where it's like, look, we hit you off with this deposit and don't say nothing. On the other hand, it could be where the girl might have lied about her age in their initial encounter, and now the family's embarrassed that this is all coming out. So there's a lot of layers to this, and that's why I think that we can't really we can't form an opinion. I don't want to say we can't be mad about anything because, of course, underage girls is a sensitive topic. And one of the things we talked about Friday too that we got to keep in mind: Josh Giddey's 20 years old. Like we're not, and I'm not making excuses for him, but the encounter with this girl when she was 16, he would have been 19. In most cases, that's a normal relationship with people who are just getting out of high school. I'm not saying it's right, I'm not saying it's wrong, but I think when the headline is NBA player, we assume it's somebody much older than what they really are. So there's a lot of layers to this that I think we just gotta wait and see before we formulate strong opinions.
Yeah, pretty much. Yes, I see that comment down there too about my Blue Devils. We can get into that a little bit later as well. Let me see what we got next. Oh, we gotta show love to the silky smooth brother named Kevin Durant. Congrats to Kevin Durant, passes Moses Malone to move into 10th all time in total NBA points. Imagine had he not missed a ton of games over his career, he could challenge for Kareem and Braun. No, he could not. But then an interesting state case: he hasn't led the league in scoring since 2014. Ain't that wild? Even if he didn't get hurt, you gotta remember Braun had an extra year that Kevin Durant didn't have because they had changed the rules back to you have to do at least 1 year of college before you can come into the NBA. So it's gonna be hard. I was watching First Things First. I think it was Nick Wright. He had posted up a stat to pass LeBron, a player would have to average like 35 a game for like somewhere between 15 and 17 years. They'd have to average 35 points a game for about 15 years in order to pass LeBron James. So I don't think Kevin Durant was gonna be the person that did it, especially him missing having one less year than LeBron has because he had to stay in college.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. Even without the injuries, I don't think he would be challenging Braun right now because remember, Braun had already been in the league a couple years before KD hit. So Braun had that jump start on him, and we're talking 21 years of Braun in the league. But the injuries, the load management, because when KD left Oklahoma City, he started the load management a little bit too. With Golden State, he did it. With Brooklyn, he definitely did it. He's done it a little bit with Phoenix. So that's all played a factor. But nonetheless, Kevin Durant is one of the greatest scorers, if not the greatest scorer of the basketball the game has ever seen. He is an all-time legend. Kudos to him, man. I don't want to spend too much time making it seem like we're only talking about him chasing Kareem and Braun. Let's acknowledge the accomplishment. 10th all time is an amazing accomplishment.
Yeah, I'm just gonna throw this one last comment up, and then we're gonna completely get past the Josh Giddey stuff. But fellas, when I was in high school, top players were banging the 21, 22-year olds, so it's a double standard. I mean, it wasn't just athletes that was, you know, dealing with younger girls. That was dudes in general. I was in high school, and my classmates was messing with dudes that was like 21, 22. So it wasn't just an athlete thing. I think that
Right.
was a thing that was going on. Um, but if this is a situation where it was, the young lady lied about her age, you know what I mean? Like that's something that we have to be very careful with. Um, because sexual assault is not a game.
Hmm.
Period. So and as much as I don't want to see anybody be sexual assaulted, we also have to be accountable for situations that we put ourselves in. So if you're underage and you're sneaking into clubs that are 18 and over and 21 and older and lying about your age, we have to be more responsible in that aspect of well, because I can tell you right now that in a nightclub that is supposed to be 18 or 21 and older, nobody is asking anybody for ID in that situation, because you're already under the assumption that everyone that's in here is supposed to be over 18 years old.
That's a fact. And like I said, this is just a super sensitive topic until we get more details. But Kavon, you're right. I mean, I don't even think it has anything to do with athletes. In general, I think everyone can speak to when they were in high school, there were females who were dealing with older men.
Mhm.
Now, whether they were just a year or two older or several years older, we've all seen it. And coming from the environment we come from, Trip, that's a known. It don't even have to be somebody you went to high school with. That's just the norm. Where whoever was the best looking chick on your block, 9 times out of 10, she probably was dealing with somebody that was older than her.
I remember I had a friend who was telling me how she was 13 messing with a guy that was 33.
That's
So
crazy.
yeah, and he wasn't no athlete. So that, and this is, what I'm
That's
saying. So
crazy.
it happens. That's last one. On the Giddy ish, why can't he just be freaky and like young girls? I'm saying a lot of them NBA cats love them babies. Nah, because we can't just put that on a person You know what I'm saying? Without us having the proof in the entire story behind that, because you have a situation like, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Big Gene, but if y'all was in the mix, he kind of had a little back and forth with Gloria
Hmm.
Velez, because she was talking about how Aaron Hall was like grooming her, and Gene actually said, "Nah, nah, 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 nah. You was in a club that was supposed to be 21 and over, and you was in there, and
At
Aaron Hall
16. Yeah.
found out that you were not of age, and so he tried to take you to Jamaica, and y'all got stopped at the airport." So you know what I'm saying. So there's also that. Drunks. Yeah, and that's another point.
Mhm.
Last thing, the age of consent in Australia is 16, and that's where, yeah. So there's that.
And
Now,
I want to say this though, right? Because again, I think we are folk, like the age is important, but I think what we're forgetting is that Giddy was 19. It's not like we're talking about a 30-year-old 10-year NBA vet. Like he was 19 and she was 16.
yeah,
In most cases, that is a normal relationship. If you were a guy who was a senior in high school dating, let's say a sophomore, you graduated, and the next year y'all kept dating, nobody would blink an eye. That's considered like a regular relationship. Or if how is that much different than the guy who's a junior in college who's 20, 21 dating the freshman 18-year-old? You know what I'm saying? It's like I just think we're looking at Giddy like to the point about why can't we say he freaky and like them young girls? He was 19, bro.
yeah. That's not even liking you, really young girl.
Yeah, like he was 19.
That's an age group. You know what I'm saying. And again, if the story of him meeting her in a nightclub is true, then that wouldn't be him looking for underage girls.
Right, yeah.
That would be him trying to scoop a girl who he's
Thinking,
under the impression
right.
is over 18. So that's not the same as him just liking young girls. Derek Thompson, yo, that Gloria Velez is crazy. So the Aaron Hall girl pregnant at 15. I'm not sure the exact age that it was, so I'd have to actually look into that. What's good, Cliff? Shout out to Cliff. Hope
Gene,
you're ready for the 12th, man.
Gene, I believe in that clip, Gene said that he found out she was 16 when they tried to travel. He didn't even know she was 16. And then when they were going to travel to Jamaica, and when, obviously her passport gave away her age. So I'm not sure. She was a teenager though when she got pregnant. She might have been 16, 17. Still isn't right. But they were also, to Gene's point, there were also other layers to that story that people did not realize, that obviously she had been lying about her age as they were dealing with each other.
Yeah, let me see. Biggest problem is that the girl is TikTok famous, so everyone knew her age apparently. Yeah, but that doesn't mean that he knew who she was though. I mean, you in a club, like, you know what I'm saying? That's not necessarily so, because if I seen that girl, I wouldn't know who she was. So it's not guaranteed that he knows who she was just because she's on TikTok. There's a lot of people on TikTok that are unknown by a lot of other people. So I'm not gonna, just base things off of that. What is Doug saying? Yeah, find out her age and when she had. Yo, y'all look messy. Cliff, what's going on, Cliff? Hey, yo, shout out to Cliff, man. Cliff is the person that runs everything for us when we are in the TV studio. He's like one of the best technical directors in the world, pretty much. He the one that got us all them awards, man. I don't even take the credit. I give all the credit to Cliff, man, for what he's been able to accomplish for us in that TV studio.
That's a fact.
Let me see. Oh, the crew is ready. So, yep. Remember, y'all, Raheem Brock is going to be rocking with us on December 12th. So, if y'all do got questions for Super Bowl champion Raheem Brock, y'all send them in either on Instagram, Facebook, or something like that. Send those questions. Y'all got until the 12th to send in any questions that you go. Hey, if y'all got questions, now y'all want us to ask them, y'all could drop it in the comments now, and I'll jot them down later, and we'll bring them with us when we go to the studio. Derek, I'm not sure how old Aaron Hall was at the time, but I want to say 30, early 30s,
Yeah.
because I believe
There
he
was
said it, but I want
there
to
was
say
a
early
significant
30s.
age difference.
Yeah, it was definitely a significant age difference. Um, Let me go back up top so we get to the rest of these comments. Let me see. Oh, there's a good one here. What up, Ron? Ron, what's good, bro? LeBron James says he is missing a Laker game if it's on the same day the Lakers play. To see his son play. I believe that's what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah, the USC joint.
You know, under any other circumstances, I probably would say that's crazy. But you know what? Damn it! If there's anybody that deserves to take a game off to go see his son's debut college game, it is LeBron Ramon James. Okay, give that man his just due. You see
Not the
what?
middle name.
Shout out to my guy LeBron James, man.
As he should though, man. Like let's I hope no one in the media makes this a big deal. We've all done it. Trip, I know you've done it for your nephews. I've done it for my daughters. I've done it for my nephews as well, where you might leave work early or just call out that day because the kids got something going on. It might be an award ceremony, it might be a Christmas show, it might be a game.
Mhm.
Um, LeBron has afforded himself that opportunity to see his son play at USC, and as should he should be there the first game Bronny suits up for USC. So I have no issue with that, and I don't want to hear the Skip Baylesses of the world have an issue with that either.
Yeah, you know he is, but
Of
I,
course,
I know I've done it, and damn it, I'm going to do it again.
I'll continue to do it.
It is what it is, man. Come on, Ron. You ain't had to come at me like this. Trip your Lakers. Them boys can't beat no good teams. Got smashed by 44. Then beat the Pistons, and OKC beat them by 23. So what's the deal with your Lakers fans? Was excited by the pickups. They're in the mix of things. Yeah, y'all gotta let the season play out. Listen, I didn't say the Lakers was going to be in first place at the end of the season and run through the Western Conference. All right, I know where they're going to be at. They're going to be in the middle of things. You know what I'm saying? In that bottom third, but they will be in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is, and they definitely beat some good teams along the way. So we ain't gonna do all that. But listen, give us some time, man. The season, we ain't even get to the All-Star weekend yet.
We
All
ain't
right.
got to Christmas Day yet, but
And guys have been in and out of the lineup. Gabe Vincent, I don't think he's even played. Cam Reddish just got hurt again. What's the power forward? Vanderbilt, you know what I'm saying, was just missed some time. Like, let the guys marinate. They 4-0 in the playing in the in-season tournament.
um, I think Lakers are gonna have to make a move. We know that Gabe Vincent has not worked out. Austin Reeves has not played well this year, so they're gonna have to make a move. I think the biggest concern for me is that Braun has played and pretty much been available every night. They have not done any load management with Braun, and at some point that's gonna happen. They're gonna have to allow Braun some rest to keep him as healthy as possible for the playoffs. Darvin Ham immediately went back on what he originally told us, where we're gonna limit Braun's minutes and we want to keep him fresh. And 2 games into the season, that went out the window. It was like, no, we can't limit his minutes. We got to get him going. So that's the bigger issue for me. Is Braun gonna be able to sustain this pace come March, April, May? Because I don't think he will. I think they're gonna have to start to load manage him very soon if they expect to keep him fresh for May.
Yeah, let me answer Hoop Baller Scoop's question. Trip, I saw on Sanchez show last night. Someone asked, "What blame should LeBron James get in the Lakers' shaky season? Why is it others' fault, but I guess Braun gets the glory when they win, or if he struggles, then we say, oh, he in year 21." Oh, my question makes sense. So give your thoughts. All right, so because you guys asked a couple of questions in there. Um, well, first of all, LeBron is their best and most consistent player right now in year 21. And generally that's how it goes. When you win, the superstar gets the bulk of the credit, and when you lose, the other players get the bulk of the blame. That's just how it goes. Um so I wouldn't put too much on that. But again, they're in, you know what I'm saying? They're right now they're in the playoff race. Okay. I mean, where did y'all think they were going to be? Like, did y'all think they were going to be top 3 in the Western Conference? Because I don't think anybody picked them as a top 3 team to finish in the Western Conference, but they will make the playoffs. And again, I think guys, you still have to find your role on the team. You have to figure out what lineups you're gonna go with. So you know what I'm saying? Like, I think things will come together ultimately. But yeah, obviously LeBron is gonna get bulk of the credit when they win, because when they're winning, LeBron is playing at his peak performance. So yeah, he's gonna get a lot of that credit, and he's going to be playing the best on the court. Obviously, AD is gonna have some of those really good games, But when they're winning, LeBron is playing well, so he's going to get a lot of that credit.
Yeah, I think so it depends on who you ask. I think Braun deserves some criticism because we know he has a major input on the roster that they build around him. So you got to take the criticism of knowing, hey, these role guys aren't working, and these are the guys that Braun wanted. But in terms of his performance, he showed up every night. So I don't think we can blame him for every loss because he showed up. He's played well for the most part. But the Lakers are an old team, and their record indicates that. At home, they're really good, 8-2 at home. But when you look at them on the road, they're 4-7. And if you look back to last year, Golden State was similar. Golden State was very good at home and terrible on the road. You look at the Clippers, not comparing them to the Clippers, but same thing. Clippers at home, solid. On the road, 3-7. So older teams tend to struggle when they have to go on these road trips, and the Lakers are no different. Um, they're a playoff team. I agree with Trip. I think ultimately, though, matchups mean everything. We talked about this a few weeks ago. Do they match up with Denver? Absolutely not. They don't. But can they match up with a maybe OKC? Yeah, because OKC is still young. Could they match up with Dallas? Yeah, they could probably match up with Dallas. But if you're talking about some of these faster teams like Denver, like Sacramento, they probably don't match up too well against them.
Yes, let me Kyrie Thompson says Trip Lakers playing game right now. I think people went crazy over the offseason picks. Again, here's the thing. Like they're in the playoff race right now. Like this would only be the case like if they were projected to finish third or higher in the West. But they're around for the most part where in I had them anywhere between 5 and 8 when the playoffs come around. I think that's their margin between 5 and 8. So they're on course to do what they're supposed to be doing. Will they make a move? I don't know. They do tend to make moves during the trade deadline, so it's possible that they will try to shift some things around. But again, they weren't projected to be one of the top 3 teams, even top 4 teams. Realistically, they're projected to be around that middle of the pack area. So they're actually on course to do what people have projected them to do.
I think they'll be fine. Like I said, they're gonna make a move. They know they have to make a move. But I think to me, for them to be fine, it goes back to again, is Braun gonna get rest?
Yeah.
I don't like the pace that Braun is on right now. I'm gonna go right out and say it. I just think he's playing a lot of minutes right now, very early in the season. They got to find a way to get him some rest. They'll be fine if Braun does not break down. But if he breaks down, it's probably going to be an early playoff exit for them.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it's gonna go. Oh, let me go back to this comment because there was a really good comment that I wanted to get to. Shout out to George. This might be George's first time. 'Cause I don't think I've seen George in the chats before. So shout out to you, George. Deion Sanders named Sports Illustrated Sports Person of the Year. The big debate is, did he deserve it? Um, that's a tough one. But you know what? I'm gonna say yes because I'm sure that year goes from the end of his time at Jackson State going into Colorado. So for that reason, I'll say yes, just because even in his departure, what Deion Sanders did for HBCUs has not been matched by anyone. Pretty much, like he did more during his tenure at Jackson State for HBCUs than realistically anybody has ever done. And then, you know, accomplishing what they were able to accomplish there, make the switch over to Colorado, taking one of the a school on that level, a Power Five school that went 1-10 and with a lot of holes to be filled, still turn things around. They were only projected to get 3 wins on the season, so they passed that. What I'm saying? Obviously, we would have liked to see Dion in Colorado play in a bowl game, but you can't always get that. But yeah, but I would say yes to Dion Sanders. I'm okay with that.
So if we're gonna say the big debate is did he deserve it? I want to know who deserved it more. If that's the big debate, who are we debating it against? Nobody, I think, has done more for college sports in the last few years than Deion Sanders in terms of drawing public attention. Like the same schools always get the looks. We know about the Alabamas, the Georgias, the LSUs, the Texas, the Notre Dames, the Ohio States, the Michigans. They get the looks all the time. Dion made the country and sports fans as a whole pay attention to Colorado football. Let's not forget, I know that some of the shine was knocked off them because of the way their season ended and some of the bad losses they had. But to start the college football season, we're not going to pretend like the Colorado Buffaloes were not the lead story every week for a month.
Yeah.
They were the number one story. Let's go before the season even started, as you mentioned, leaving Jackson State. He was the lead story when everyone was debating his impact on HBCUs and what he did for coaching at the lower level.
Yeah.
Let's not pretend that all of the locker room videos weren't going viral even before the season started. I'm bringing my luggage in this Louis, right? All the catchphrases, we
Yeah.
here, we coming, all the catchphrases. If it ain't Dion, who then? Because I just don't know anybody who was a more impactful sports figure than Deion Sanders over the course of this year.
Yeah.
So it's got to be Dion. And to Drunk's other comment, like he said, maybe Sports Illustrated did do this as a little bit of a shock value. Granted, they announce Sports Person of the Year every year, so maybe this year they wanted to add a little something to it to get people talking. But my question would be, if we're debating it, who's the person who was more deserving than Dion? Because I can't think of the person.
Exactly. Let me go to Kyrie Thompson. When is Ja Morant's first game back? Ja gets subpoenaed in lawsuit over alleged assault of teenagers. They've played 19 games right now, so 6 more games, and he'll be back. As far as the subpoena, yep, civil suit in regards to the situation with the alleged assault of a minor, so he's going to be dealing with that. Um, I'm I'm sure it'll probably be a situation where he ends up settling and everyone will move on, and that'll be the end of it.
They're going to settle out of court. I'm sure his legal team is going to fight to keep this out of the headlines. He's already had enough negative publicity. They're trying to move forward. As you mentioned, he should be back very soon. Well, the suspension will be lifted. I don't know if he'll be playing game 26 because he may need a couple games and a couple workouts to get himself ready to go. But his legal team's going to try to, again, let's move on. Let's get him back on the court. And I'm already on record as saying this, Trip. I think he will be, if not traded, they will flirt with the idea of trading him at the end of this season because it's just too much bad publicity for this organization and for Ja Morant at this point. You're not winning enough for us to justify all the negative headlines.
What are you getting to trade for Ja Morant? What's the value on a Ja Morant?
It all depends on what direction you're trying to go. If you're going complete rebuild, I could see you getting at least 3 first-round picks for him. I don't think the Rudy Gobert trade is a fair gauge because Minnesota way overpaid for Rudy Gobert. I think Donovan Mitchell obviously was a little more proven than Ja when he got traded to the Cavs, so all the things they got in that trade. But I think 3 first-round picks with some swaps and some players coming back. If you're Memphis and you want to go that route, if you're looking to get established players right now and stay competitive, then you might be able to get like 2 fringe all-star caliber guys. But the issue with Ja is like, man, you got to know if you're trading for Ja, you got to know that he's good. You got to know that all this is behind him and that you're not taking a gamble on a young man who still is dealing with some outside distractions.
I hope it is because I do want to see Ja Morant get back to being one of the top guys in this league. He's got a lot of years ahead of him. Another young man, shout out to Drunk for this one. Speaking of Ja, shout out to Mikey Williams for beating his case. He will not be serving any jail time, which I'm actually very happy about because, I being from a similar place to where Mikey Williams is from, you know what I'm saying? I understand things that, other people may not understand in regards to, you know, how things are in those type of environments. So I definitely didn't want to see such a talented kid have his life ruined by, by one mistake. So I'm very happy that he is he's able to come home, and now hopefully he keeps his head clear and he solely focuses on basketball and building his future.
I couldn't have said it better myself, man. I wish the kid the best. I'm glad that his future still has an opportunity to proceed, and that he, doesn't lose all the opportunities that are ahead of him. But again, we talked about it with Angel Reese. We talked about it with John Morant. Eliminate the outside distractions. Keep the most important thing the most important thing. Focus on who, keep negative people out your circle. Lock in, because there's a lot of earning potential for Mikey Williams if he does the right thing.
Yes, sir. Let me go to Hype Baller Hoops. Timberwolves and Thunder still atop of the West. Many think they can stay up there. I do. I think Nuggets probably will get it back when Jamal returns, but I love seeing the young teams come into their own. Orlando Magic second in the East just had an 8-game winning streak. The NBA is changing to the new young dogs, and I love it. Curry slash KD and them boys got 3 years to still be top 10, and then it's all about the youngins. I mean, listen, that's the circle of life, man. At some point, the new guard is going to come in. And I think that's what we're seeing. Now, as far as making a deep playoff run, I don't see either one of those teams making a deep playoff run. Because I think that those are the teams that we get every year that beast through the regular season, and they're going by the second round, because things slow down once you get to the playoffs. You're seeing the same team, for 4 and 5 and 6 and sometimes 7 straight games in a row. So then it really comes down to coaching and adjustments. So when we get to that point, I don't know if those teams can hang around. Especially, I don't. I think as out of the three, I would say Orlando probably has the least chance of hanging around, because I just don't see them, you know, I mean, doing anything with Boston, even though they did beat Boston the other night. But in a 7-game series, I don't think it's close. Even I know Milwaukee struggled a little bit to start the season, but by the time we get to the playoffs, I don't think they'll be able to do anything with Milwaukee if everyone is healthy. The way Joel Embiid has been playing this season, I don't see them being able to compete with Philly either. And then you still got the experienced team of Miami who's been there before. Even the Knicks are in the mix right now. So I don't see that part of it going. But I think at best these three teams second round exit.
I mean, playoff basketball is so tough to predict because matchups mean everything, and when you catch a team, can dictate if you're able to upset them. But you are right though, Trip. Come playoff time, when a team can lock in and focus on you and build up their defensive game plan around your star players for those 4, 5, 6, 7 games, it changes everything. What I will say though about this is these are all young teams. The future is bright for them. I expect all these young teams to be legitimate contenders moving forward, but you have to learn how to win. Every young team goes through it. Every young team has to take their bumps and bruises before they learn how to actually win. All these teams will do that. For me, I'm most excited about the Thunder because I've talked about it several times, and I even said it in one of our preseason shows. To me, Shea Gilgeous is going to be an MVP of this league. I don't know if it's going to be this year, but he's going to be an MVP of this league. And for me, the Thunder, I think the Thunder have more promise now than even the days when they had KD, Russ, and Harden. Just when you look at the young talent they have and their ability to play.
Yep. Well, let me go to Hoops Nation question, and this is a good one. Is John Morant better than Shea and De'Aaron Fox? I don't think he is. More, I think he's more exciting, but game wise, y'all can't tell me he's better than Fox or Shea. Um, I, if I had to rank the three of them, I probably would put Shea, then Ja, and then De'Aaron Fox. But that's just me personally. Eric, I don't know. How do you feel about that?
Uh, I'm standing on what I've been saying. Shea Gilgeous is the best point guard in the game, and that's including Luca. I think Shea's game is better than Luca's. Uh, to me, Shea is better than Ja. I think De'Aaron Fox is better than Ja now. That De'Aaron Fox has consistently started to knock down a three ball. He's damn near unguardable because when he was just all speed going to the basket, you could never stay in front of him. And now that he can actually shoot, he is a problem. Ja's game is still raw. Granted, we haven't seen John a little bit, so I don't want to sound based off of just recency. But I think both those guys are better than John Morant right now.
Oh, so you got him at third. Yeah, I got him at second. Let me see. Is Devin Booker the top shooting guard in the NBA?
Yes.
Um, just run through the Rolodex. Yeah, I'll give him that. Okay, let me see. There's one up here I missed too. Oh, drunk. How y'all feel about Monty Williams' coaching job with the Pistons so far? He's completely benched Jaden Ivey for no reason. Um, they got a lot of talent out there. Kate Cunningham's, he's starting to turn up. I would like to see more of Jaden Ivey. Um, they're still a very young team. Um, and not in the sense of having someone like a Shea on their team or even a John Morant on their team as well. They don't have that guy as of yet. So I mean, I think they're where I expect them to be. So I don't know. You like sometimes, you know, you could be the greatest coach in the world, but if you just ain't got the roster to win, you ain't gonna win.
Yeah, it's a rebuild there. Monty's got his hands full. The Jaden Ivey pick is tough because he has not really played him and he's kind of lost confidence in him. And when you look at some of the guys that were drafted after Jaden Ivey, that could have fit this Pistons team, you're talking about Ben Mathurin, that's with the Pacers, who's a good two-way player. Um, you probably could have got a little more value, but I don't know. I don't know what led to Jaden Ivey just completely being benched. He doesn't even play him at all. So I don't know if it's an effort thing. I don't know if it's just, the guys falling out of favor with him. Maybe Monty's trying to send a message to guys, but they got to figure that part out because you can't draft a guy that high and then just completely fall out of favor in 1 year. There's got to be you got to find a way to make that work. And drunk to your comment where you say he's not better than Luca. He's a better two-way player than Luca. And if you look at his assist to turnover ratio, it's better than Luca, even though they both have the same usage rate. He handles the ball better. Luca's better three-point shooter, but defensively, Shea is miles ahead of Luca.
I agree with that. Let me shout out to Pooh. Let me go to Pooh because Pooh always wants to get off topic or be messy. So I'm gonna go to Pooh's comment. Yes, Pooh. For you, we're gonna get off topic for a second. What's the top concert you ever been to? And give a top three if you can. Um Top concert I went to would have to be a toss up between Ludacris at the Hammerstein Ballroom or Future at the Barclays Center. Those would be my top two right there if I had to pick. Just because Ludacris was a great performer, David Banner was also on that card, and he is actually a freaking incredible performer. Like if you haven't been to a David Banner show, you should definitely go to a David Banner show. And Future is this Future. And plus, it was a lot of gas in the air at the Barclays Center during the Future concert. So that also attributed to the things that was going on with that one. Those are my two.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna sound cliche. I can't remember the name of the tour, but it was the Jay-Z tour that had Jeezy and Trey Songz on it. So for me, it was the best just because
That's the one?
that might have been
That's the
we
one with Wiz
talking
headlining?
that was like what 2011.
I think that might have been with Wiz Khalifa headlining.
Nah, 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 nah. Jay was the headline. It was at the Garden.
Okay.
Jay, Jeezy, and Trey Songz was on it. So from a talent standpoint, it was nothing but hits top to bottom. And Jeezy was hot at that time. Jeezy had put on for my city. Like Jeezy was really popping at that time. So that was probably the best one. But the one I had the most fun at, you mentioned Hammerstein Ballroom. When I saw Dipset there, I think I had the most fun that time just because I'm such a big Dipset fan. They went through all the hits, and it was a smaller venue, so it's like it was a little more intimate in terms of like the feel. Whereas when you're at the Garden and it's Jay Z, it's corporate. You know what I'm saying? It is. It's for like you said, there's a lot of things in the air when you're in that smaller environment.
No, facts, facts, facts. And then Pooh got one more comment here. I like the Suns, man. I know y'all when the season started didn't think they can contend but when Durant and Booker play, they don't lose. Remember, the Suns get to the West Final. Well, I thought they could contend. I just thought that them not having playing no defense and not having no depth, it was gonna hurt them come playoff time. I didn't think they was gonna just be out here getting wiped off the floor every night.
Yeah, I don't think that's an accurate statement though, Pooh. Because I think we all said regular season they would be fine. Their issues are gonna come playoff time. No
Yeah,
point guard. I know Devin Booker has done a great job of taking on that role of a point guard, but come playoff time, you don't want Devin Booker setting up the offense because you want him actually getting offense. You want him to be able to get to his spots. You don't want him to have to worry about getting everybody else to their spots. So I think they're what we thought they would be. Now, granted, we haven't really seen their big three play together, so we don't know what the true potential of this is. And the longer we go without seeing the three play together, the more I'm going to start to feel that this is another Brooklyn Nets situation. Because we can't forget, for as great as it sounded on paper, KD, Kyrie, and Harden, I think only played 18 total games together. They never got a chance to gel. They never got a chance to reach the potential. And until we see all three in Phoenix, I'm gonna feel the same way. I'm gonna feel like they're a good team on paper, and come second round of the playoffs, when you gotta face the Denvers of the world, you're probably gonna struggle and get eliminated.
yep. Let me throw Derek's comment up here. While baby girl brought up concerts, let me ask y'all, what era of hip hop is the best to you all? 90s, 2000 to 2010, 2010 to 2020. And in hip hop, what rappers would you consider will be rap legends? Are you saying that's not already a legend?
Yeah, I think that's what he's saying.
All right. Okay, so that's a couple of questions. The best era of hip hop to me, I don't know, because I like songs in different eras. So I don't even really want to pick an era. Obviously, people say the 90s was the golden era of hip hop, and that's I guess that's technically my era, even though I was a kid during that era. Um, but so I would probably say for me, I would probably say either it would be the 90s to from 90 to 2010. I'm just gonna say those two going through.
Yeah, I since this is the question, I'll answer it based off this. 2000 to 2010 to me is the best. It was the perfect blend of just all genres of hip hop because Atlanta came on super strong. We can't forget the impact that Mike Jones, Paul Wall, and all them dudes had in Houston. Obviously, you still had your East Coast legends. Jay was doing big things because Blueprint dropped in 2001.
Yeah.
Fab's first album is 2001. Dipset came on super heavy in 02, 03. Obviously, that's 50s era as well. So I think 2000 to 2010 to me is the greatest because it's the perfect blend of like the up and coming dudes along with guys that we had already considered legends. Because still DRE came out in that same time frame. So there's a lot of great music that came out during that era. And if we're talking about guys who we don't already consider legends, um, that's tough because I mean, I guess.
Well, do hold on. Are we counting Wayne? Because or are we
And yeah,
saying
yeah, not like Drunk said. I didn't like I said, I forgot to even mention what Wayne was during that time because like 03, 04, 05, Wayne was crazy. Like the consistency and amount of work he was putting out was crazy. So again 2000 to 2010 is still the greatest. And
Dipset
then
doing their thing at that time?
Dips, right, yeah, it's so much great music at that time. Um who don't we consider a legend? I mean,
Who wait? Who's not? That's what he asked. Who's not a legend? Or who
no,
do?
no, he said in hip hop, what rappers would you consider will be rap legends? So I guess cats that's putting out music now, um,
It's four. It's four people right now that's gonna be the legends of
Cole
this.
Kendricks,
Drake and
Kendrick,
Future.
Drake, yeah, Future,
That's the four right
because
there.
they the ones that have really sculpted the sound over the last what 15 years. That's
Yes.
really yeah, it's been their sound over the last 15 years.
Yep. So there you go. Let me see. It said so. My last comment: the 90s and 2000 had great rap legends. Okay, well we kind of answered that one.
Hmm.
Yeah, those are the four right there. We mentioned J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, Drake, and Future. Those are the four legends from this era.
Yeah, I think those are the Mount Rushmore of like the last 15 years in terms of like what if you had to tell somebody these were the best rappers in that time, it's gonna be those four guys.
Yeah, and that was the 2000 to 2010 with all of those Wayne mixtapes was going crazy.
Yeah.
Let me see who ball a scoop. says my favorite mid '90s Pac, Big Nas, in the last era 2010. Now legends Lil Wayne, Drake, Nicki Minaj, Kendrick, and Cole. But today, Lil Baby, Wayne in two eras. Yeah, Wayne, you could say Wayne's in two eras.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think if Lil Baby stays consistent, he can be, but I think he has more work to do to be considered a legend, because a legend is a big thing. Like the the collection of work, the accolades, they got to be to a certain point. Legend is a big thing. Um, oh,
and I also like when we talk about the best now. I'm big on like is the music timeless? You know what I'm saying? Like, can I put something on now? Like when we talked about 2000, 2010, there's joints you could put on from then now and still be like, yo, still have that same feel. And then there's certain joints where it's like, that was just that era. It just felt that good then. So that to me defines legendary as well. Is it timeless?
the two cats from, I guess, now that I felt like would have been the next two legends are both dead. Rest in peace, Nipsey Hussle. Rest in peace, Pop Smoke. I think those are two guys that could have got to that status. But then neither one of those guys is here with us. When did she start? What Nicki Minaj? When did she start her stats on Real Ray? When did I mean Nicki's been out for a
Nicki,
while
so
because
Nicki really started to blow up what on the Monster record probably was like her first real big break. And what was that? 07, 08? Like
so
she was doing um traditional like underground stuff before then, obviously when her and Fendi was together, and then when she got with Gucci Man in like 04, 05. But if you want to say like if you want to pinpoint the song that I think kind of put on the map was the Kanye West Monster joint, where she did have the best verse over Jay, Ross, and Kanye on that joint.
there you go. Shout out to Nicki though. Drunk says people don't take Tyler the Creator that serious, but his music gonna age beautifully over time. He will be a legend. Tyler the Creator has a cult following. His music isn't really for me, but I do understand that he has a cult following. So I would have to like really listen to more for me to say. But shout out to Tyler the Creator. Jerry
Facts.
Thompson, what the youngins love NBA YoungBoy. We can't say anything about bad about NBA YoungBoy because he crazy. He might try to get at us. He just threatened Joe Button, so we can't say nothing.
And listen, a lot of cats be threatening Joe Button. I don't think that's anything new. That's nothing new. Joe gets threatened every month.
Yeah, that is true. So, but no, NBA YoungBoy, as far as getting to legendary status, he definitely has a lot more to do before he could be legendary status. Because let me see, does he even? I don't even think. I mean, he does have a couple of, I guess, platinum albums, but I don't know. He hit for to be a legend. Like he hasn't put in the type of work for some of the other guys that we said are legends. Even the four people that we just named and said were the from that for the last, like, I guess, 15 years. Those four guys, he hasn't put in that type of work. So
Right.
I can't just throw people up in a when you say legend, like the body of work, what you've accomplished, like it's a lot. So I can't just throw the legend on anything. Let me get to was in season tournament. Okay, we're gonna get to that in just one second. Yo, drunk. I'm telling you, man, young boy coming at you behind these comments. Young boy dumpster juice. He could have been a legend, but all right, let me find this in season tournament comment. Where did it go? Let me see. Let me see. Hold on. Oh, okay, here we go. Hoopballer Scoop says, let's get your in season tournament game predictions. Celtics versus Pacers, Pelicans versus Kings, then Tuesday games, Bucks versus Knicks, Suns versus Lakers. I'm taking the Celtics over the Pacers. I'm gonna go with the Pelicans over the Kings. I'm taking the Bucks over the Knicks, and I'm taking the Lakers over the Suns.
Sounds good. I like the Celtics to beat the Pacers. I believe when they played earlier this year, the Celtics put up like 150 points on them. So unless the Pacers defense got better, I don't see them winning that game. I like the Kings to beat the Pelicans because I do think the Kings are legit. We talked about De'Aaron Fox earlier. So I like the Kings there. I like the Knicks in an upset. I think the
Mm,
Knicks have been trending in the right direction. And I think what we've said about Milwaukee all season is very true. They struggle to defend. So I could see that being a game where Jalen Brunson, who has been hot, he's just coming off being Eastern Conference Player of the Week, stays hot. The Knicks, I think, in an upset. And then the Lakers struggle against good teams. The Suns are a good team. So I see the Suns winning.
Kyrie said Porzingis is out for the Celtics. They still good enough without Porzingis to
Yeah.
beat the Pacers, so I wouldn't be too concerned about that one. Let me jump back up to the top to where we started from. Kyrie Thompson, sup fellas, Michigan,
I was
Washington.
waiting for this one.
Everybody get your roll on. Alabama have been selected to vie for the national championship, leaving out Florida State. I know y'all got a lot to say on this one. Roll mother effing tide. That's what I gotta say. Took down the monster in Georgia. 29 straight games they had going into the SEC championship game, and Alabama did what Alabama does and finessed their way into the number 4 seed. And now they about to get Michigan up out of here, and then they gonna go on and get whoever wins from that other game up out of here, and they're gonna be back to being national champions. Sorry, Sean Fontaine, because I know you was out there at the Florida State game. I know that's your team out there, but roll tide.
This is a perfect scenario of one, why the college football playoff needs to expand, but also this is a prime example of how you could be wrong and right at the same time. And I'm gonna tell you why. The committee is right because they needed to get the best 4 teams into the playoffs. And I think because Jordan Travis is out, obviously quarterback for Florida State,
Mhm.
they were no longer one of the 4 best teams. But this is why the committee is wrong. Your body of work is supposed to dictate you getting into the playoffs. Florida State is undefeated. They did exactly what they were supposed to do. They went undefeated. They won their conference championship. Yet somehow they win their conference championship and then they drop out of the top 4. Now, just to give you an example, the other teams who won their conference championship, who were in the top 4, got to stay in the top 4. Washington won theirs, they stayed in, right? Michigan won theirs, they stayed in. So, how can you justify Florida State falling out for handling their business when the other teams who handled their business got to stay in? Also, there's a major flaw. I would like to know, how do they determine how far or how impactful you fall off a win or a loss? Because Alabama wins and goes up 4 spots. Georgia loses, they go down 5 spots. Florida State wins, they drop 2 spots. Who's determining then what's more impactful than the other? Because again, you still got to handle your business that's in front of you. If I'm Florida State, my biggest issue would be, if this is how you're going to judge it, then why did we even play the ACC championship? There was no reason to even play the championship because nothing we would have done was going to improve or have you put us in. We handled our business and you still took us out. So this is where I think the committee was wrong in that aspect. They punished Florida State even though they handled their business.
What happens is they put a lot on strength of schedule. And that's really why they make the decisions that they make. Again, Alabama winning the SEC championship over a Georgia team that just came off of winning a national championship in 29 straight games. They
Yeah.
go in and beat that team. They're gonna put a lot of credit onto that as opposed to to Florida State. And then the other parts of that was the quarterbacks. I'm sure that went into to that
Mhm.
decision making as well. So that's unfortunate. But again, roll tide.
No, yeah, like I said, I'm not knocking Bama. Bama handled their business against Georgia. And the only blemish on Bama's record is the loss against Texas early in the season, who also is a top 4 team. So I'm not mad at that. But if I'm Florida State
You should be
My question is still, what else could we have done then?
go to the SEC.
Yeah, but this
That's,
isn't.
are
But
you that's what
hold
you
on, no.
that's
But see, but that's unfair though, because now we're putting bias towards a conference as opposed to right. This is supposed to be open for everyone.
yeah,
TCU made the playoffs last year. TCU ain't playing the SEC.
I know. That's how
So
the cookie crumbles sometimes.
nah, but then that's what I'm saying. Then the committee has to come up with a better strategy moving forward. I think ultimately the only strategy is to expand the playoff.
Yeah,
You have to expand the playoff. But if I'm Florida State, I'm still asking the same question. What could we have done different then? Because it seems like you had already predetermined, even before Florida State won that game, it seemed like it was already predetermined you're not going to make the playoffs.
yeah,
So then what's the point then? Why are we valuing a undefeated season and we're telling teams, hey, the point is to win your conference and win as many games as possible because you could still be penalized for that.
yeah. I mean, listen, it's they're gonna have to figure it out. I think the expansion is probably going to be the best thing because 4 teams is not really a lot. I would say at least bring it to 6. Um, you know what I mean?
And
But go
no, and to be fair, if I'm Georgia, I'm mad too. I lose a 3-point game on a neutral site, and that drops me down to 6.
yeah, yeah. Listen, I get it. Let me see. Hold on. Let's get these last 2 comments, and we're gonna get ready to wrap up. I watched Florida State and Louisville whole game last night. They would have got blown out with that freshman QB. Had they blown Louisville out, they would have made it. I think.
I
Yeah,
don't
I
think they
mean,
would have.
I get well, no, because I do know a part of that decision making also is the final score. They take a lot of things into consideration, but I mean, yeah, it wasn't for them this year.
Yeah, I don't think it would have mattered. And one of the things that was being talked about during the Alabama halftime by the broadcast was there has not been a college football playoff without an SEC team in it. So there was already that underlying thinking that if Alabama wins this,
They got to be
they got to be the team in. Like, are we gonna take a SEC team out? We're not gonna allow them in. You know what I'm saying? And so I think there was a little bit of bias there. I don't think there was anything Florida State could have done.
yeah,
Now, to my original point, that's why I say I think in a way they did kind of get it right because you want to put the best product out there, and Florida State does not have their quarterback.
yeah,
But I would still my devil's advocate on it is so then what else were we supposed to do? Because injuries are part of the game. Like, let's say hypothetically, let's say Alabama was blowing out Georgia yesterday and Milroe goes out and Alabama stills win. They would not have penalized Alabama for losing their quarterback. They would still try to give them a shot to prove it. And that's why I think if you're Florida State, that's where I would be most mad. Like, at least we went 13-0. We did our job. If we get blown out, all right. TCU got blown out last year. You
yeah.
gave them a chance to prove it on the field. Let us try to prove it on the field.
They probably said if it was Alabama, the next quarterback up could have still won because we've seen that happen before in the past.
Yeah, but again, that's
No,
bias.
no, no, I'm just
I know
trolling.
we playing devil's advocate though. That's all.
Yeah. Let me go to this last comment from Hoopballer Scoop. Thoughts on Fat Joe's career? Like he has had longevity because of years, but outside of the hits, can you both name 5 Joe hits? Don't hold on. We're not gonna do that now. We're not gonna disrespect Joey Crack the Dawn, who shout out to Big Gene, said Fat Joe is the realest in hip hop, period. And on top of that, and I can say he's the realest period too, because I done met Fat Joe a couple of times. One time was actually right outside of the TV station in Brooklyn, and he literally stopped in the middle of the block just to have a conversation with myself, Sean Fontaine, and one of our other friends. And he could have went straight to the corner and stopped at the red light at the corner, but he seen us sitting outside, stopped, had a whole conversation with us. So we're not gonna disrespect Fat Joe, but Fat Joe definitely, come on, man. You got What's Love, the joint with Ashanti. You got
Mhm,
Lean Back. Okay, you
mhm,
got All the Way Up. Um,
mhm.
you got Make It Rain.
Make it rain.
You want to go back? We can go back to Twins, Deep
Flow.
Cover. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
deep cover, Flojo. Yeah.
Come on, man. We're not about to do that. He got the
Joe,
with Cardi B. Um, so come on, man. We're not gonna disrespect Fat Joe, man. Fat
Joe
Fat
got big hits. He
Joe,
got big features.
Yeah.
We can't overlook some of the features he's been a part of as well. Is he ever gonna make somebody's top 10 list? No. But Fat Joe definitely has hits. He has longevity. And in terms of like we love to talk about authenticity and somebody like, oh, really living that life. There ain't many guys who live that life more than Fat Joe. That's a fact.
Not at all. Not at all. I don't care what none of these cats is out here rapping about,
They
but if
was,
you're talking
yeah,
about real and authentic and was okay, Fat Joe, y'all seen for all y'all, Tupac fans out there when
Fat Joe
Tupac
made the
was locked
call.
up, Joey Cracked the Dawn had to make that call. All
That's a
right,
fact.
so what I'm saying, give that man his flowers, respect him as a legend in hip hop. Period. Not a Bronx legend, not a New York legend, even though he's both of those things. But as a hip hop legend, Fat Joe is a legend. He has been around and he continues to make hits every year. Fat Joe, Fat Joe drops a hit. So we're
Yeah,
not gonna do that. Put some respect on Fat Joe's name. It is what it is. With that being said, though, let's get into the final thought segment because Sunday night
it's
football,
almost game time.
it is.
Final thoughts. I'm gonna take the Chiefs tonight, and then I got the Jaguars tomorrow, and I got them both on a ticket, so I need them to both to win. I need them to cover 2.5. That's why I worked it down to 2.5. So as long as they win by a field goal, I'm good. Big money on the line. But no, as always, thank you guys. Comment section, yeah, keep it flooded, and we love it, man. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're rocking with us. Next Friday, again, another Friday night live with picks. Trip, you and I, we back together again next Sunday. And guys, send over your questions because it's going to be an epic episode. We're actually recording 2 joints that day, Trip, because we got the joint with Raheem Brock. And then we got our main man combos court stopping through for a basketball episode. So it's gonna be a lot of great conversations on both those joints that we record, man. But
and
I
we got
hope
to do
everyone
that day too. We
we all hey, we doing everything. We're doing everything. But again, we appreciate you guys, man, and keep rocking with us, keep locking in with us, keep sending in them great questions and comments. And I hope everyone stays safe during this holiday season.
sir. I got 2 final thoughts. The first one is for the Eagles fan. He had to sit and watch his team get their boots smoked today by the San Francisco 49ers. Soon as I get off the air, run me my papers. That's first and foremost. And secondly, big congratulations to Rocco. He will be going to Rutgers University, playing quarterback for Rutgers University, which means that he gets to team back up with one of the wide receivers that helped him win back-to-back Catholic League championships at Holy Trinity, Dylan Braithwaite. I'm definitely going to be coming up to Rutgers to catch the young brother who has had a really stellar high school career. He's gonna come on the show soon too. I told him I'm gonna bring him up so we could talk to him a little bit about his high school and getting ready to be a quarterback for Rutgers University. That's the school where my main man Pacheco came from. If y'all didn't know that, but big shout out to Rocco, man. Keep up the great work. With that being said, make sure you guys are following us on all our social media: Instagram, Twitter at Real Fan Talk, Facebook.com/Real Fans Real Talk. Subscribe to that YouTube channel, YouTube.com/ For the Fans Productions. And of course, if you're not in the New York City area and you can't watch us on Thursdays from 8 to 9 p.m., do not worry. You can watch us from anywhere in the world. All you got to go do is go to the website, realfansrealtalk.com, click that red button on the homepage, and you can watch from anywhere in the world. Also, make sure you subscribe to both the Sanchez Show and the Real Fans Real Talk podcast, streaming on all major platforms. With that being said, for myself, Trip Young, and my brother, Eric Sanchez, aka Legend in 2 Games, we up out of here. Peace.